Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's kick things off. You know what? Before I get started, I got some news that probably already knows about. But if you don't, um, ABC Substance Depth, Sean Blakemore is returning to GH. Now, I took kind of a break from this show, so I only know bits and pieces from his whole exit. I know it had a lot to do with the fact that he took the rap for Sonny, involving some sort of some sort of shooting or whatever. I'm not really too familiar with the details. But I always found it very strange that he just kind of just let him just sat there and rot in jail for like, how long now? Um, so it was never super easy, about that whole, like how it all went down from what the pieces I understood. But yeah, he's supposed to be returning back to GH, so it should be interesting. Now, let's start off with Liz and Cam, because Cam is really is heading towards the dark side, and I'm not a super hardcore Star Wars fan, but I mean it is what it is. And here's the thing, he gets into it with Liz, about Jake and everything like that, and how Jason did it, this, that, and the third, and he's going back and forth with his mom, and then he heads out. I'm sitting there looking at Liz like, Liz, this is all your fault. This is all your fault, okay? He is acting out this way, he's lashing out at people because of the way you were sitting there reacting towards it. So, don't sit there and look at him like you kind of set this emotion, you know? Now, granted, in the alternate universe, and why I do say that, in the alternate universe, she could have just came to the conclusion that, you know what, he was there to help, he probably didn't shoot, he probably didn't shoot Franco, he's a professional, yada, yada, yada. And Cam still could have been acting out this way. But that's not the universe that we live in. And yeah, I'm still kind of putting a lot of this on Liz. Now, here's the interesting part. When Cam leaves, Finn comes over. They get to talking, and Liz is like, what if I made a huge mistake? And she thinks about it in a way like, she came in, she didn't know the players or anything like that. She might have just looked at the situation and looked at Jason trying to help Franco check his pulse, whatnot. And now she's like, what did I do? Now, I went hard on Liz. I did. And I don't take back the stuff that I said. But I do remember in my yammering of just going at Liz, that I knew that she was suffering from grief and that she needed a place to lash out. But I also kind of just stood there and was like, common sense just went out the window, because you've known this guy forever, pretty much. So, but now at this point, she's like, I could have made a mistake. So, yeah. It's interesting. I said that yesterday, and I'm glad that we're starting to see the Liz that we all know and love. This woman has been on this show for a really long time. So, I always like to sit there and, I'm always at like awe of the veteran actors that have been on these shows forever. Like, you look at Susan Lucci, and let's just sit there and say they decided to bring back All My Children. She could probably do that show in her sleep. She's been Susan Lucci she's been Erica Kane for years. And I've said this before, but I actually met Susan Lucci in real life. And it was really interesting, but also a little scary. Because I felt like she didn't know. Like, the way that she was talking At least when I was talking to her, I just kind of felt like she didn't know that she was Susan Lucci, and she kind of really came across as Erica Kane. But the point is, I always am awe of the veteran actors. So when I look at people like Liz, Monica, and some other people, I'm like, wow. Even Nancy, Alexis, I'm just like, and just wow, because those are the people that can play the character like the back of their head. Um, what else we got? Now, Jocelyn and Trina are at the gallery, and Trina gets news that she got accepted to college, and now pretty much we're just waiting, you know, to see if Jocelyn got into the college that she chose. So while both of them sit there celebrating Trina's victory or whatever, Cam comes in. Now it's this awkward tension even in the beginning. Um, and Trina goes to do something. I don't know exactly what she does, but she goes to do something, and once again, well, they go at it. You know, and it's so funny because Cam is at this point where when Jocelyn's like, "I've known Jason for a long time. You know that he's professional. He's not sloppy. You know, he had ample time to put a bullet in Franco's head, and he didn't do it. Does that make any sense at this point?" And Cam is just so into his grief and his anger that just common sense and logic just goes out the window. And he just goes in on Jocelyn. And Jocelyn's like, you know what, listen, um, the kid gloves are off, and I get that you're grieving, but this is going way too far. And she pretty much just like, yo, listen, I'm glad that I'm gonna be going to a faraway school. This way, I don't have to be around you anymore. And she walks off. At this point, Trina comes back, and Trina's like, what's going on? So at this point, I'm just like, well, Cam, you got one friend, so let's just see how that works out. Um, Cam was just being a dick, just an absolute dick. You know, talking about Jason's lifestyle gets everyone killed, and the people around him are always constantly getting hurt, and Dev, and this, that, and the third. And at the one point, I was like, all right, bro, I'm just kind of like just looking at my phone because I just kind of just tuned him out at this point. Um. Anyway, can't Jocelyn looks at her phone. She gets an email from the school, and well, she doesn't get in. She's on a wait list. So, I mean, it's not like she can't just apply to any other school and probably get in. So I don't, she seems like she's a smart person, and you know, I don't think she's gonna have a problem getting into another school. But she's probably gonna be bummed and whatever. And I mean, let's be honest. What would she do at this point? She would just leave the show? Like, I don't know. But Cam said he's not leaving. He's going to stay here for his mom and make sure Jason pays and yada, 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 yada. So let's talk about Scott and Obrick. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It happened. It was a thing. Scott woke up, found a bunch of Obrick's clothes just lying everywhere. He must have really went to town. Um, Obrick gets back out the shower, or whatever, and they talk a little bit. And you know, Scott's like, so we're gonna have to. We should probably talk about what happened here and there and there and pretty much everywhere in the damn room at this point. They kind of both chalk it up to the fact that they were grieving and lonely and stuff like that, but they kind of had an understanding of, well, first Scott says something, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, Scott. Scott's like, well, it wasn't that bad. I mean, yeah, we could be doing worse. Like, really? But then, Scott's like, I'm open for doing it again, sometimes. Just like, yeah, me too. And I was like, did you not just hear what Scott said? Scott said that it could have been worse. Or something along those lines. And I was just like, okay, but whatever. I guess there'll be a thing for a little bit. That should be interesting. Um, I do like Lisa for the most part. I mean, I know like when I first started watching this, she was into some sketchy things, and I exactly was not a fan of hers. But overall, I think I've actually been. Now I think about it, overall, I think I've been a fan of hers. Um, I think it was just a shady thing that she did where she tried to leverage her way out of jail by she knew the whereabouts of Lulu's like eggs or whatever or something exactly what it's called, but she knew the whereabouts of it, and she was only gonna sit there and tell her if it meant getting out of jail or getting out of jail pretty much. So I wasn't exactly a fan of that, but overall I actually did like it. And I think honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie, my best moment that I really liked her character was, I guess it was this kid named Rafe, and Patrick wasn't too sure was she gonna like operate on him, and Ulbrich like set him straight, like, yo, listen, at the end of the day, like, this is a hospital, we save lives, like, your personal drama, whatever you got with him, that could go outside, but like right here, this is what we're doing. And I was just like, because even at the time, and I wasn't really too much of a fan of hers, I did like how she stepped up. So like overall, I can actually sit there and say that I do like Ulbrich. So it should be pretty interesting. Ulbrich and Scott kind of being a somewhat thing. Um, they go to the courthouse, and well, Carly's freaking out because Carly wants Jason to go on bail. You know, like to get bail and stuff like that. Hell, even Anna pitches the idea to Robert about bail. So Robert, when court starts, Robert, pitches to the judge like, yo, listen, he has business here, he has family here, he has kids here, like he has interest in staying here. I don't think that he's gonna be a problem as far as like jumping bail or whatever. Um Now Peter is just there like the villain that I just known and just gonna accustomed to loving. This guy's literally sitting there with a smirk on his face, just like, well, he better not get jail. He better not get bail. That's just that's not gonna work. So the judge goes in his chambers or whatever for a little bit. He comes out and well, he pretty much denies bail. And my goodness, could Peter not look any happier? I mean, this guy could have practically got up and started moonwalking at this point because the delightful look on his face was just like, Jesus Christ, you're kind of a sociopath. I like you as a villain, but damn, bro. So yeah, he's gonna be he's gonna be in Pentonville until I think that's where the judge said he's gonna be in jail until the trial gets started. So yeah, now with that being said, when everyone leaves the courtroom, Peter comes up. He just can't help himself but to rub it in Carly's face. And I think this is a good scene in particular for the fans because they know that Peter and Carly in real life are a thing. So a lot of people really do like the fact that they do get a lot of screen time together. Um, because they really don't. Hell, if you look way back, like with Billy or Drew and Sam, like I don't know if they're still a thing now, but they were a thing for a while, and they got so much screen time together. So I guess Laura Wright and the guy that I can't remember his name, get some screen time. Anyway, he was sitting there gloating, talking about, poor Charles be a safer place and yada yada yada. And, Carly kind of gives, him his 2 cents or whatever, like, she's not gonna back down. And that pretty much just kinda ended that. Finn and before he went to Liz's place, he had to talk with Chase. um, kind of an awkward talk, but pretty much they're, Chase is like, listen, I'm trying to do what I can to move past this, you know. Because Finn was like, listen, Violet, she misses you, she wants to spend time with you and stuff like that. So, for the family's sake, Chase is like, listen, I'm going to do my best that I can to try to get past this whole. I can't never pronounce his name, but the guy who talks about the paternity test or whatever. He's pretty much just like, I'm going to try to get past or work on getting past this whole, you know, you're not my brother, you're really my, DNA dad, pretty much thing. And after he talks to Finn, which was still somewhat awkward, he talks to Jackie. Now, Jackie has some quick words for Peter, which, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie, didn't really amount up to anything. Pretty much, Jackie was, you know, giving Peter her frustration. And, Peter's like, listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You work for me. You got a 2-year contract, so I really don't even have to listen to any of this. So to be honest, whatever she said, it really didn't matter because it just really didn't matter. But anyway, Jackie talks to Chase, and Chase is still kind of split because on one hand, he's just still upset with their decisions and how they went about it. As far as Finn and Jackie and how it hurt Gregory. But at the same time, Jackie also explained, listen, if we're gonna do this, we all gotta put in the work. You, me, everyone. We gotta just do it because that's the only way we're gonna get past it. And Chase is like, listen, I gotta make sure that Gregory's okay first. You know, but then after that, then we can try to work on it. So pretty much the whole plan again is to sit there and try to work on whatever this new mess is. But you know, yeah, that's just, that whole thing is just kind of just I don't even know. Now let's talk about Sunny, Nina, and Phyllis scenes because I'm gonna be honest, I really felt like it didn't amount up to anything. I mean, even for their side story, which most people are just like, all right, can it just kind of end already? Like it seemed like much didn't happen. The only thing that I can sit there and say about their whole scenes is when Nina's sitting there talking to um, Sunny. Nina's like, well, you seem like you're really happy, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, Nina, listen, at the end of the day, you can sit there and try to lie to yourself and make it seem like, well, you're happy here, you're good here. You don't need to go back to that dangerous life, being the mob guy and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know that what you're doing is still wrong. It's still wrong. And I get that part, a lot of her motivation had to do with sticking it to Carly. Okay? But here's the thing. What did Sunny ever actually do to you? Like, I get Carly, you and Carly got whatever going on. But what did Sunny actually do to you? And you can see it a little bit when they're dancing, when they're talking, stuff like that. There is a part of Nina that does feel guilty about this whole thing. Just the fact that she keeps lying to Sunny's face every day, knowing that she knows the truth, and is choosing not to say anything. And, honestly, tell you the truth, I feel like when this whole thing comes out, we're going to have Nina's going to sit there and be like, oh, well, you seem like you're so happy, you're so much at peace, and, I just felt like it was better for you not to know. I was trying to, I was trying to spare you. I wasn't trying to, like, hurt your feelings or I was trying to protect you. Because you know exactly what it's like when people sit there and try to protect you, right? Because that always turns out so well, right? Like, every time I see her talk to Sunny and they're dancing and everything like that, and I'm just like, you're just gonna keep lying to this poor man, aren't you? And I don't mean poor like financially, but I mean like you're just gonna sit there and just keep keep lying to him every day. And I sit there, and every time I sit there and look at these scenes, and I see a little bit of the guilt on her face, I'm just like, how are you keeping this up? This is part of the reason why she keeps it to saying, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be here long after my whole little tour with Elijah, whatever. I'm probably gonna skip town or whatever, because the longer she's there, the more guilt she's feeling. And then, of course, down the line, she's going to start to fall for him, and they're going to be a thing, and people are like, oh man, I can't wait for Sonny and Nina to get together and stuff like that. And I'm just going to sit there and remind people, like, listen, no matter how cute you think those scenes are, just remember that they are all built on a lie, okay? A very, very cruel lie. And I say cruel lie because at the end of the day, you're still taking away from his kids. And yes, I heard the counter arguments of, he's a mob guy and, he does bad things and sooner or later it was going to come to that. But knowing that you have the power to actually reunite him with his family and choosing not to do it, it's still cruel. It's still cruel. I, honestly, to tell you the truth, I think that was pretty much the moral of that story. Because let's be honest, their scenes didn't really go anywhere, like at all. It didn't even advance their little side plot. I mean, if it did, please just let me know in the comment section down below, because maybe I missed something. Yep, and with that being said, I think that's actually about it. I don't think I really missed too much of anything else. If I did, write it down in the comment section below. I want to thank everyone for watching. One of the things I really actually like, besides just watching General Hospital, is because even if it's not really great, because let's be honest, this episode was so-so. It had some good moments, but it wasn't on fire, okay? I feel like when Sean, and it's so weird, because that's his real life name, when Sean comes back, is definitely going to be interesting. But like I say, even when the show is not, super great or super interesting, I always find it really interesting. I always find it really fun to sit there and talk about the episodes. That's how I felt. Well, more or less, that's how I felt about when I was watching B&B, which I'm not going to say the names because, copyright strike. But even when I was talking about that show, it was so fun just coming on here and talking to people about that show and just reviewing it. It was more fun reviewing it than it was actually watching it. Because, oh my goodness, that show is like melodrama, just melodramatic. But anyway, with that being said, I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank everyone for their comments. Because I always enjoy reading the comments and stuff like that, because it definitely does help me, always moving forward as far as doing reviews and stuff like that, and just stuff, some stuff I didn't sit there and think about and be like, oh, okay, cool, that's interesting. So thank you everyone for writing comments down and stuff like that, and even people who doesn't watch read the comments and just watch. I thank you all the same. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I hope everyone has a great weekend, great Easter, great everything. Definitely stay safe, because yeah, just stay safe, everyone, and I will catch you in the next review.